Hi, everyone. Welcome
Hello.
back. This is four weeks, 3 weeks with Sarah of short fiction live experience with you here on YouTube. Today, we're talking about Drabbles. What is a Drabble, you might ask? We are going to get into that. How do you write one? We're going to get into that. Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself, give folks some context?
I do. Hello. Yes, thank you. My name is Sarah Ray Werner. I am a writer and podcast producer living in the Midwest. I create the Right Now podcast with Sarah Werner, as well as Girl in Space. And I also produce my partner Tim's show Omen. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just here. I'm excited to talk about writing. How about you, Asa?
Great. Yes. I am a writer. I'm here on AuthorTube with Sarah and other great writers. I hope some of y'all are here today. I wrote 6 sermons. It's an Audible series starring Stephanie Shu. And yes, I'm learning how to write fiction. And we're doing these live streams every week. And what's going to happen today, like every week, is we're going to live write. We're going to write a sample of short fiction on the spot. Additionally, we're going to give you a place to submit to it. So today we're going to talk about Drabbles. We're going to write a Drabble, and we found a specific contest currently open for Drabbles. Welcome. All right. So we have a cool little presentation. So I'm going to put it up.
You're so fancy.
Stand by. All right. Are we seeing that? Are we seeing add to the stage? Drabbles.
Hey, microfiction for all. I love you bringing back microfiction. I don't know
Is
if we
that?
talked about that in our series before.
No.
Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
So you and I both, well, you come also from journalism, but we've both done some work in podcasting. And oh, good, can hear you. Good, thank you, Tim. And my good friend A.R. Olivieri started doing these little 1 minute podcast episodes that they were calling microfiction. And so I don't know, it's just Great and Terrible is one of the ones that I remember, but you do, like, as normal with a podcast episode, you do the intro, you tell a 1 minute story, and then you have an outro. And it's just, I think it's a really cool, if you're looking to create something and you don't have a lot of time, it's a great way to do it.
Definitely. Drabbles definitely fall into that. The case for writing a 100-word story is just that. It's an opportunity to practice, create something quickly. I think the
Right.
big thing that's different about Drabbles from my sort of early understanding of this form is that, unlike, say, poetry, where we have the same concision, in a Drabble, there's still a story. There's still
Yes.
a beginning, middle, and end. And that is kind of the name of the game. We're going to look at an example today of a very great Drabble, break it down. The last point on here is that, yeah, you can publish these. There's a contest that we're going to submit to about ghost ships. We're going to tell you about that. And that's just another, you can write a lot of Drabbles quickly. So that's what we're going to try.
Yes.
All right. Moving forward, the case study. Okay, so the delightful Charlotte O'Farrell has offered to share her story. I reached out because I found this great Drabble by her. This particular Drabble was published by the same place that now has the open call. So it's a nice reference for us, and it's a great Drabble that we can analyze. Here's the story in its totality. Do you want to read it for us, Sarah?
Boy, I sure would. This is called Inheritance. All my life, Uncle Harry's name was spoken with a pitying hush. He never recovered from his son's disappearance. He lived 30 years after my cousin vanished. Harry was never at family events. Maybe he avoided them, maybe he wasn't invited at all. People think grief and tragedy are contagious. He left me his house, surprisingly. I was thrilled. His garden would be perfect for my dog, Fluffy. The first day there, Fluffy dug for hours. I called him in at sunset. He emerged from the flower patch with a tibia in his jaws. Degraded, child-sized bones littered the garden.
Love, love. This is so great. Okay, so folks, I'm curious, would love your input as well here on what's working for you in this Drabble. Why is effective? Is it not effective for you? Um, you know, what I love about this is that it includes a twist very effectively. The kind of story sets itself up and then surprises us in a really exciting way. And so, yeah, I think that's like a lesson here that I'm learning about Drabbles, that all the kind of normal plot things, moves and sort of jumps that you can do are fair game, even though there's 100 words.
Right.
What do you notice here, Sarah?
Well, I know that I noticed something very similar. It's so tempting to write a vignette, which is something that does not have a narrative arc. It doesn't have a beginning, middle, and an end. This is so, I feel like we could draw a grid over this and it would be like mathematically precise with like when each beat hits, which I really appreciate. We have the setup, we have the sort of act one, we have act two, which is Fluffy digging for hours, and then act three that has the twist and leaves us with this. Again, this is something in short fiction that can be so powerful, is the opening line and the closing line. And this is especially true if you only have 100 words. And so I really appreciated that. One of the other things that I really love in microfiction and flash fiction and short fiction in general is the power that the title can have as well. The name of this story is Inheritance, which, obviously the home was inherited, but also it kind of speaks to a darker, like what else has the storyteller inherited, perhaps from Uncle Harry, that might be an issue moving forward. So I think that it really nails some themes too. The storyteller, the narrator's unnamed in this. So the narrator talks about grief and tragedy being contagious, dot, dot, dot. But what else might be contagious? What else have you inherited? I think just thematically, it's just really compact, it's really powerful, and it's really effective.
Yes, I second all of that. I think a line like people think grief and tragedy are contagious, kind of a little like one-liner like that, I think really
Yes.
works. I think you can kind of get away with that in a Drabble. There is that poetic license where you can kind of reach for identifying something as grief and tragedy are contagious. I think there's room for that in this form. And I totally agree. Just the precision of the first sentence and the last sentence. I think this is like great examples. For those just hopping in, this is Inheritance by Charlotte O'Farrell. I reached out. She was thrilled. I said, hey, I love Inheritance. Can I share it? She said, oh my God, yes. So here we are reading her story. Charlotte, if you're watching, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So one thing that I learned was that Drabbles have to be exactly 100 words, not a 100 word limit. So
Right.
and I'm putting you on the spot here, Sarah, and I'd love also if we have any seasoned Drabblers in the mix, what counsel would you give if you find yourself at 93 words?
Mm.
And you've got to, normally we're omitting needless words, we're refining. If we need to add, how do we approach that?
If we need to add anything, we're at 93 words. I would step back, look at the piece as a whole, and ask yourself, what is the theme here? And what else can I do to make this just more powerful? What can I do to make this hit a little harder? This is just me personally. This is not, you must do this in this situation. But as a writer, I would take those last 7 words and think like, what is the most punch I can create with these 7 words? And I might even go through the existing 93 words, take out anything weak, and then whatever's left, just make it as punchy and powerful as possible, because every word in this story is 1% of the story. And that's a lot of percent, when we're talking about a narrative piece. So yeah, I think that the most effective thing you can do is to make it hit hard. And that doesn't have to be horror. It doesn't have to be macabre. It can be comedy. It can be a tiny romance. It can be a memory. But as long as it has that narrative structure, you should be good.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. I think my contribution there would be that because it's so short, intrinsically, it's already going to be kind of flat and
Mm,
two-dimensional, and just a little detail is going to expand it outwards. And just
mm.
adding one reference to Main Street or my cousin immediately kind of just stretches everything. So I guess that would be one thought that I had when I was asking myself this is like, what would I do? It's like, can I expand the world of the story, both literally and kind of literarily, to like, so that it encompasses more in this 100 words?
Yes, I love the literally and literarily. That's primo. That's very good.
Oh, Jimmy has a thought here.
Oh,
Don't write to 100 words, write to
mm,
125 or 200 and edit back. That forces essential choices you. I think that's a great instinct. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's how we know how to edit. It's like
Mm.
distilled to the essentialness. So, if we go farther than that, then our task is going to be more focused instead of inventing, tempting you
And
to
it's
add.
harder.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
it's harder to cut out those words than it is to find new words to add. Like words, our brains come up with words like popcorn, but yeah.
Great.
I'm going with this metaphor. I was like, and throwing some of those pieces of popcorn in the trash, but I don't know where I was going with that.
We
So
want the popcorn.
I want it all, but you can't have it all. You have to
We
murder some of your darlings. So yes.
Great. Jimmy, your sentiment is echoed by the chat. All right. So this week's submission opportunity moving forward. So as promised, we have a specific home for your future Drabble. This particular competition will be publishing 12. So, there are currently 12 of us on this stream. I mean, it could be, folks. So here it is. It's at a place called Black Hair Press. And I'm just going to read this for everyone who's listening. Black Hair Press publishes horror and dark speculative fiction. They run a themed monthly Drabble challenge titled Dark Moments each month. For July, the theme is ghost ships. We invite you to board the haunted decks of ghost ships lost to time and storm. Picture spectral vessels adrift in swirling ocean mist, crewed by the damned and desperate to lure the living into their eternal voyage. Give us your best 100-word tales, microfiction dripping with maritime dread, haunted crews, cursed treasures, or phantom calls echoing across midnight waves. Whether your ship is a tattered wreck or a vanished luxury liner, let your imagination drift. So there you have it. This is a prompt. If you're here and you're like, I don't like pirates, I don't want to write a ghost ship, that is totally great. This is still a great opportunity to try your hand at this form. One thing we like to do for everyone is to give a little inspiration, a little prompt. And I found these two images as well as
Ooh.
sort of a kind of, if you're totally feeling lost, follow this directive. The images here, we have juxtaposed a very naturalistic, realistic boat from the swamp, from the bayou, and then, of course, over here, a proper, fantastical schooner of the seas. And, one thing I would definitely encourage, and certainly these publications encourage, is to think about ghost ship in the largest possible sense. What does it mean? A ghost ship, that could be taken so many which ways. Who are the ghosts and why is the ship on the other side? And what does it mean to be on the other side? All this stuff. Additionally, a verbal prompt. Your protagonist stumbles upon an abandoned ship. Document their exploration and what they discover. So to get you
Yes.
going, these are some tools. Feel free to embrace, ignore, or ghost
Yes.
ship. I think we're going to go for, well, first, before we start writing, Sarah, anything else you want to kind of prime
There
folks with?
is. Yeah, there is one thing, and thank you for these props, Asa. I've been reading page after page by Heather Sellers, and I just thought of one thing that she says right at the beginning of the book. Try to get past your taste, try to learn from everything. So even if you're not interested in writing about ghost ships, I would challenge you. It's just 100 words. Give it a try and see what you come up with. Use it as a way to stretch yourself and challenge yourself. And I think that's part of what will help you grow as a writer.
Love, love. Okay, folks. So pencils down. Let's see. We're gonna
Okay.
start 30 minutes, and then we'll regroup and we'll talk about how it went for everyone. Share some first and/or last sentences. Good luck, and if you're just joining us, welcome. We're writing Drabble's 100-word stories. The prompt is Ghost Ship. So we'll be back in about 30.
All right. Let's go.
How you doing, Sarah?
There we go. Doing pretty good. I got 128 words. How about you?
Okay, so who was it? Jimmy. Jimmy, this is your strategy in play.
Yes.
Earlier, Jimmy proposed overshoot and then edit down. So I was going by hand. So I
Yes.
don't have a word count. I don't have a word count, but I definitely went over for sure. It's just a question how much. Narrative vault hit the nail on the head apparently with 100 words. Congratulations. That's great.
I'm impressed. This was harder than I thought it would be.
This was harder. This one I really treated differently. Can I tell you about my experience of the last half hour?
Yes, and then I will do the same.
Okay, great. I love. So for this one, I started by brainstorming a little bit. I wrote all this stuff down of like a list of possible POVs, point of view. Do I tell a story from the ship's point of view, the sailor, a pirate, an animal? I was thinking about crops. Like, are there crops on this ghost ship? And then I was riffing RE kind of like, do I want contemporary? Do I want like a proper ghost ship? Started a whole nother story, which I then abandoned and then started over. So this was actually the inverse on this. We've been doing these weekly, and some of these other ones have all been flash fiction, 1,000 words. And my experience here was with the limitation. It took me longer to click in and find, to more myself to a tale. Yeah, that was my experience.
Wonderful. Yeah, there's so much similar and so much dissimilar here. And we have the chat here has so many great responses. DL Pitchford says, I've got about 90 words. It's nowhere near done. Yep, I feel that. Yep. Yep. And Jimmy, who we were featuring earlier, says that's what I did. I wrote to about 110 and then I cut back to 100. It felt good and weird to write again. I know it's this series that Asa and I have been doing has also gotten me back into writing short fiction, which I have not really done since college, and so it's been refreshing. It's been challenging. And GCAT says fun. Thanks. Yes. My own experience was, you can see here, this is more than 100 words because when I started out, I was wondering, how do you tell a story? Even though we had that wonderful example from earlier, how do you tell a story in 100 words? Not even exactly 100 words, but just that small number of words. It's like reaching into a box of puzzle pieces and hoping that you have a handful that all connect to each other. It was definitely a challenge. And like, it really, if you're an overthinker like me, you're wondering at that point, like, what is a story? What is a narrative? What is a plot? What does it mean to have a character? And I'm not a planner. So Asa, I love that you just like, you went through and you were like, okay, point of view, characters. Okay. For me, I was like, what is words? And so I just started free writing. And this is generally this is how I work because this is how my brain works. I just did some free association writing at first. And so I just started writing, it all seems fairly straightforward. An abandoned ship, safe for ghosts, and maybe some rats on a stormy sea. And I kind of went from there and walked myself into a story that I actually think is I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not disappointed. How about that?
That's a huge threshold. Are you up for sharing your first sentence?
I am. GCAT says I didn't get past the basic idea. I think that's okay. I mean, if you want, you can keep working on it. Um, but yeah, the basic idea in such a short story, the basic idea is kind of all there is. Like it's kind of a tease. It's like you're just reading what you would on the inside of the book flap. This is you're reading the Cliff's Notes. DL Pitchford says that puzzle piece analogy is so good. That's absolutely what this felt like. It was challenging, yeah, and even knowing that I could overwrite and cut out later still felt strange. So yes, um, I am going to read you my first sentence here. Again, we only had 30 minutes, so be kind. So the name of my story is Again, Again. The children rush down from the top of the lighthouse, scrabble over the rocks, even in the storm. I saw it, they scream, and where'd it go? So that's the
Great.
first. Yes.
Love that title. Yes, that feels very like 18th century, kind of like Penny Dreadful. If I'm
Oh
getting
my
that
gosh.
century right, like
Really?
yeah, big
That's
time.
exactly what that's exactly what this is. Are you
Okay,
kidding?
well,
Wow.
it's
Okay.
giving that, it's giving that. I love it. Yeah, I'm seeing
What
some
about
kind of
you?
old school font. Okay, well, I'll read
Yeah.
two,
Yes.
and from one from the abandoned story and one from the
Okay.
continued, and
Yeah,
we'll
I'm curious to
see.
see how they're different. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found myself getting in my head too about trying to achieve something conceptually novel, you know? So I think that's why I had these false starts. This is one of the sentences. It takes 3 generations to forget us, so we only come up when daddy says.
Oh.
So that's one.
Oh.
And the other says, like, we all know what happens when you follow paper boats down storm basins. We all know what happens when you follow paper boats down storm drains. So Jackson should have known he had it coming.
That's so good. Those are so
Yeah.
punchy. Those are so, they feel so direct. Like, I feel like those are arrows pointing toward your final sentence. And I feel like that's really good to have in such a short piece.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that is a tip for all of us here as we prepare our submissions is that yes, that the first and last sentence are in conversation with each other, because particularly in these drabbles, the echo of the first one will still be reverberating by the time we read the last syllable, you know?
Well, I feel like in that first one you shared, you already had an echo going because it takes 3 generations. Like, you kind of hint at like this huge story that comes before.
Yes, that was
Great.
another like little problem to crack. I found, you know, like right, it almost I found myself doing that with these stories, like having stories within stories, which is almost like a deliberate kind of like, all right, I only have 100 words, so I'm going to automatically sort of whatchamacallit, matryoshka doll this thing,
Oh yeah.
you know? So that's what I found yeah. So I'm
Layers,
just like
donkey.
the revision here. Does anyone else have a first sentence they want to share? Narrative vault. I know you finished G Cat. I know you didn't get past the basic idea. Do you want to share your first sentence? DL Pitchford.
Well, I love that basic idea. GCat says it's a toy at the bottom of a pool.
Yes.
So it's the tiniest ghost ship. I wonder if
Okay.
it has like, what were those little peoples called growing up, like weebles? No. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the
Like the little
Fisher
toys.
Price little, and they have big round heads.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. No. Yeah. That I ended up going that direction in
Did
both
you?
stories. Again, on some like I have to like reinvent the ghost ship. So but the in the one that I committed to, I stuck with a rowboat, just a rowboat that a little girl drowned on, and that's my ghost ship. You know, trying to go small with it.
GCat says no real first line. That is okay. I feel like what Asa was saying about like this pressure to come up with something. I don't remember if you said unique or innovative, but so you have the limitations you're working here are ghost ship as a topic, 100 words exactly. And then how do I reinvent a story, or like how do I tell a story that's never been told before in a way that's never been told before? There's so much pressure there. So we've got narrative vaults, experienced sailors. Oh, do you want to read it?
No, go.
Okay. Narrative Vault says experienced sailors John Wallace and his sons motored out of Miami in their 36-foot Panda sailboat for a 10-day cruise to Bermuda. Oh, I know where they're going. Is it triangle shaped? I hope so.
Loving the specificity of a 36-foot Panda sailboat. I have no idea what that is, but I love.
I don't either. Sorry, I get excited and then I talk.
No, go on.
I was going to say, I love the 36-foot Panda sailboat specificity, and I hope that you bring that around somehow. and continue on with little details that tell a larger story. I really love that. Jimmy says, wait, I did the same kind of thing. Jimmy, would you care to elaborate? I would love to know more. The same kind of thing with the toy at the bottom of the pool. Oh, the first line. Yes. Jimmy says, my first line, the lake is ugly at night. That's great. You're already subverting what we expect. You know, any story you read, I'm going to say probably, and Asa, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say at least 95% of the stories you read that feature a lake, a body of water, they're all going to talk about how beautiful it is. And
Yeah, I think this is great.
I think that's such, yeah.
Not only is the instinct, I think, often towards, yeah, something beautiful, but the way the lake is described in this sentence is like very not, like you might describe, I'm trying to think what else. It's so conversational. I'm definitely intrigued by this.
Yeah, like,
this sentence.
Ew, that fence is ugly. Like the fence and the street lights shining on. It's like covered in ivy and it's all cracked. And it's like, no, this is like a lake, and the lake is ugly at night. Which, that's so good. That's such a good subversion. Oh, Narrative Vault owned a 36-foot Panda sailboat.
and survived.
Yeah, and did not end up in the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, Jimmy says, Sarah, I linked you. Oh, wait, I probably shouldn't, like...
All right, let's see here. Okay.
There we go.
I'm going to queue up the... Stand by, everyone. I'm going to... Hold on. There. Submission deets. Okay, so folks, take your Drabble, revise it, and submit it. This link will take you to where you can submit this, all the necessary details, follow the instructions per usual. There are lots of them. And, you know, if it's your first time here, Sarah and I are so glad they're here. And we are really getting into a groove with these, doing these every Friday. It's been a ton of fun. So do subscribe, get your notifications going, because there are a lot of people here today. And I'm feeling some really great momentum, loving all the creativity. Narrative Vault, Jimmy, GCat, everyone, Dana, DL Pitchford, you know, the whole gang is here, and that is really great. And I'm so grateful for you. And Sarah and I are just delighted to share this with you.
Oh, and Cody's here. Hey, Cody. Wasn't able to participate, Cody, but wanted to say hi. You know, that really, it is nice to sit with Asa and to talk about story and form, and then to do some writing. But he's absolutely correct with those of you that were able to be here and interact with us. It was just, even for me, such a richer experience. I love knowing that you're all working on this along with me. I loved hearing your premises and your lines. So just thank you for being here. This is fantastic. Oh, Jimmy says, my last line, and then there is nothing but the memory of the lake. Jimmy, you're going to submit this, right? I'm nodding because you're going to submit it. And DL Pitchford said this was really fun. It was. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Anything else, Sarah?
Let's see. I do hope you submit your stories. If you do, come back to this video. It'll be on both of our YouTube channels. Let us know in the comments that you submitted, and we will be there cheering you on. I really would like this community to grow and support each other and just be a really warm place for writers to connect. So Jimmy says probably not. Okay, we'll talk later. But yeah, come back to the comments. Let us know if you get accepted. Let us know, and if you get a rejection, let us know. One of the things that I know Asa is working on is building up this like rejection list where you're coloring in these boxes for every rejection you get, because every rejection you get is a step forward. As oxymoronic or as whatever the word is that seems, it seems counterintuitive, but each rejection is another step forward. So absolutely. Narrative Vault says probably not as well. We'll think about it.
We'll work on y'all. We'll work on you. We'll work on you. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you soon.